have a book I want to drop off. The Starless Sea. I can't remember the author's name, but it's like really whimsy. I don't think I was really in the mood for it. Like my mom started reading it and she's enjoying it a little bit more than I am. I just think at the right book, wrong time. I think that's what it's called. So I'm just gonna go see if there's anything exciting there. I'm waiting for the Abby Jimenez books. I've read Just for the Summer and I think it was Part of Your World. There's another book I wanted to read by her, but it's always checked out at the library. And I'm like, I could place a hold, but I like to kind of just like walk around, see what is there. And then I also wanted to look at the comics and see if there's anything exciting there as well. So fingers crossed. So I just got back from the library a few minutes ago. I didn't find anything that I was really into at the moment. It's summertime and everyone's out of school, so I feel like the book selection's a little tough. But I did return my book, and there's some decent comic book selections, but just nothing really was jumping out. And like there was like a kids reading event thing going on, so there was kids everywhere. So I just kind of browsed a little bit and then bounced. I'm gonna work on my puzzle. I'm like, I want to say 2/3 of the way through it, and I'm enjoying it a lot. I'm having a good time, so hopefully I can finish it today. If not, probably tomorrow. While I work on my puzzle, I'm gonna finish the podcast I was listening to. It's Theo Vaughn with Ed Sheeran, and it is so funny. I just really enjoy his podcast. Like everyone's super chill. He does all kinds of interviews with people, so it's always a good time to listen to him. And then I'll probably talk to my mom a little bit too, see what she's up to, harass her for the day. We talk at least once or twice a day, and it's not like important conversations. It's literally just like, oh, what book are you reading? What'd you eat today? You know, I love those talks with her. That's pretty much what I'm up to at the moment. Video clip of the puzzle that I have so far. So this is all I have on my puzzle so far. So I basically just have the middle and then the science fiction section. So I've made some really good progress. And there's Olive being an absolute menace to society. I don't know if anyone else's cat is like this, but anytime I'm like doing something where the attention is obviously not on her, she does her bad girl shit. Like she just can't stop getting into things, trying to eat my puzzles, my Legos. She'll try to jump in these cabinets. Like, you don't even want to know how many times I've put back together some of these sets because she jumps and they fall out, and then I'm just stuck rebuilding them when I like having them displayed. Like right now, she's trying to chew on my Lego orchid. Why? I have no idea. She's just doing bad girl shit, and I can't stop her, because if I do, she's gonna get upset and do more bad girl shit. So it's a double-edged sword having a cat. It's not like a dog where you can just say no. Like a cat, you say no, there's retribution. This morning I was cleaning my patio chairs because they were super spider webby and bug. There's also a stray cat who's been sleeping on the cushion, so they just need to be cleaned. And I'm so proud of myself because it's one of those things that like I don't mind doing, but anytime there's bugs involved, it just stresses me out. Like I lifted one of the cushions and there was a daddy long leg, and like they're not deadly spiders by any means, but it was the size of my palm. Like it was ridiculous. Gold star for me, very proud of myself. It was just very nerve-wracking. So you see her? I swear, having a cat is like a perpetual toddler because they're always trying to get into things they're not supposed to. And like there's nothing you could do. You just gotta ride it out. I just finished my puzzle and it came out so good. It was a slow process, but I'm very happy I did it. So now I'm gonna eat some dinner, shower. I want to talk about a book I've been reading that I've been really enjoying. I want to talk to you guys about the book I've been reading the past couple of days. It's Death in Her Hands by Otessa Moshfegh. I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name. I've never read anything by her before, but This is definitely like one of the most unhinged books I've ever read. I don't know if anyone else has read, what is it, My Year of Rest and Relaxation is one of her most popular books, but I just wanted something shorter by her just to see how I felt about her writing. And this one's basically about an old lady who stumbles across a piece of paper that somebody's admitting there's a dead body, but it wasn't them, and like this old lady takes it into her hands to try to solve the murder. Book's basically just an inner dialogue of this retired old lady that lives in a cabin. And when I mean unhinged, like, this lady should be on medication. I could imagine the deaths of these dull heifers roaming the save right, these sad mothers with nothing to do but eat and fold laundry with tiny stubby fingers sticking out of their huge bloated hands. And then she's thinking about the dead body of this poor girl. And she's like, oh, there are probably worms and maggots crawling up her lips and into her mouth. How could she talk at all with a mouthful of stuff like that? It's the most bizarre statement to say in regards to a dead body. You don't even know where it is, you know? I'm really enjoying it, all things considered. I feel like the way Miss Otessa writes is very accurate to like how thought processes form and how people think, especially, I don't know if it's the same for men, but women, where it's like you start at point A, you'll go to point C, you'll circle back to B, and then it all ties into A. And I just feel like it depicts the person's thought processes very well. But this lady's batshit crazy, and I'm so here for it. I have probably, I want to say like 50 pages left, so I'm going to try to finish it today, see what like my full thoughts are on it. I wouldn't say it's like the best literature I've ever read, but it's definitely very enjoyable. It's nothing compared to like Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. It's definitely out there. It kind of reminds me of a little bit of the writing style of like A Little Life. It's very like mundane acts, but there's not as much trauma dumping or like traumatic topics being discussed. It's like the lady's not even doing anything. She's just thinking about this character and building things up in her mind and being like, yeah, I'm solving the mystery, but she has no concrete evidence whatsoever. Like, it's literally all in her head. So I don't know if she's schizophrenic or what, but it's definitely really funny. Keeps having me cracking up over like the shit she says, so definitely recommend so far. Basically today I'm just gonna go for my walk, try to get outside for a little bit. It's just been so hot here. Like, I'm from Florida, right? South Florida, very hot, very humid. But it hasn't rained here in North Georgia in like 2.5 weeks, which I'm not used to unless it's winter time. So it's just been like 90 degrees day after day with no clouds in sight, and like obviously love a blue sky. But I'm a rain girly at heart. Like, I love the rain. I love the moodiness. I don't appreciate being baked like an egg on a pan when I'm outside. The only cool thing about summer so far is that there's hummingbirds, which I haven't really ever seen before, and they're really cute. They just kind of like beep boop around. But yeah, I'm gonna do that, some laundry. I finished my puzzle yesterday, so I don't know if I'm gonna start a new one. I might take a little break. Plus, I just want to like enjoy the fact that the puzzle is complete because I spent so much time on it. I might doodle too. Have to email back and forth with the college that I'm going to. It's like day after day. I'm just So I'm walking this trail that I don't normally frequent because the park I usually go to is closed. They're like doing road work or something. So I'm just out here walking in the woods, man. It is so fucking hot. But it's nice to like get outside in the woods and whatnot. I have to say though, one of my worst fears is literally getting murdered in the woods, and I don't think I'm well equipped to deal with a potential murderer at the moment, but really should work on that because it's pretty low on my bucket list, to be completely honest with you. I officially finished Death in Her Hands, and this book has left me confused. Like, I don't know how to describe this book. Like, it's a little unsettling, and the ending doesn't really bring you any sort of resolution. There is no resolution. It's just the way it ends is very strange. I feel like this book left me very confused, but it wasn't bad, you know? Like, not every book is supposed to have like conflict and resolution. Just this lady's inner thoughts, but she's batshit crazy, and the ending just very odd. So not a bad book. It's always good to experiment with your reading. I don't think it really falls under like a horror genre or a thriller. It's like kind of a mystery, but not really. It's all in her head. So I don't know how to describe it. Like, you just kind of have to read it for yourself to understand. I'm just confused, dude. What did I read? This book is like 259 pages, so it's not long. And I enjoyed reading it, even though it was like incredibly unhinged. And the lady should definitely be like in an asylum or on some sort of antipsychotic medication, because the thoughts that this woman has on a daily basis is just insane. Like, her thoughts were so delusional. Like, she created so many scenarios in her head with no evidence, no backing. It's written very well, but like the character herself, because it's literally just this lady and her dog. She only has like a handful of interactions with like her local townspeople, and they're very minimal at that. So it's literally just this lady slowly losing her mind in a cabin in the woods. I would recommend it, but it's just out there. It's a different style book. What does it mean? Where, Dwight? Where? I just got out of the shower, ate dinner, all that fun stuff. I'm just gonna get cozy, watch Forensic Files, and try to find something else to read. I have Firefly Lane by Kristen Hanna, and then I have a bunch of books on my Kindle, because I'll basically like stockpile my Kindle. I'll have like 10, 20 books that I've read, get rid of them, and then add 10, 20 more, just so I have options. And so I have some classics on here that I found for free on Amazon, so I always download them if they pop up for free, but usually they're only like $1 or $2. But if you can get it for free, like, you might as well. Hopefully I find something, because I just want to start a good book and just get like all up in there. I want to lose sleep over it, you know? I'm gonna try these like under eye patches, because I don't know if you can tell, but I have major dark circles, and it's been something I've been dealing with as I've gotten older. And like, I'm still young, and I don't wear makeup, and I don't know if it's because of that, but I feel like when I look at other women, they don't have dark circles like I have. And it could be makeup, but I don't do makeup. I don't really know like how to do it very well. So I'm gonna try these dark circle patch, or like, I don't know what they're called, like masks, and see if that helps a little bit, just because it's like kind of not embarrassing, but it's just like frustrating. I sleep, but obviously I don't sleep enough considering I have bags, but hoping that helps. So I just got my oil changed, and it was like a whole process trying to find somebody to do my oil around here. I live in like a really small town, right? And the closest like dealership for me to go to is an hour and a half away, and it had the worst reviews, because I prefer to go to the dealership just because if there's anything that like they damage, it's under warranty, so I don't have to like pay to get it fixed. But I went to like this small oil change place here, super nice, great experience, like got my car situated, and then I just stopped by the little library that's at this park, and I found Things We Left Unfinished by Rebecca Yarros. And I've been wanting to read something that she's written besides Fourth Wing and Iron Flame, because like they were okay in the grand scheme of fantasy books. Like, it wasn't my favorite, so I'm gonna give her like romance fiction a chance and see how I like that. It was a pretty productive morning. I'm gonna go home, make some breakfast, keep drinking my coffee. While I was waiting to get my oil changed, I started reading Firefly Lane by Kristen Hanna, and so far I'm really liking it. I don't think I've ever really disliked any book by Kristen Hanna. Like, my least favorite is Homefront, but even that was still written really well. It just didn't really jive with me the best. But this one I'm really enjoying so far. It's like the 70s late 60s, early 70s, around like the Vietnam War time, and it's about like two girls and how they meet and become friends, and it's like their story throughout the years of their friendship. So I know I'm gonna cry at some point, but I love her writing, so I'm really excited. I think I'm only like 30 pages in, so pretty new to the story itself, but I think I'm really gonna enjoy this one. So I'm walking through the woods again, and it's another trail I'm not like super familiar with, but it's super gorgeous, and I'm glad I came out because it's a little overcast today, so it's not as hot as yesterday. It's just so quiet out here, and I love it. Just always gotta keep an eye out. I just saw a deer. It was super majestic, just like I see. Really cute. This really nice lady just stopped me and said, because she was walking a little ahead of me, said that there was a copperhead snake and that there's probably more. And seeing as I'm like half an hour around this trail, I decided to turn around because I don't like snakes. I've walked for long enough, in my opinion. I really don't fuck with snakes. Coming from Florida, there's snakes and gators and whatnot, but I try my best to avoid them because fuck that. I do love that deer and I had like a little bit of like a standoff, like a I see you boo type thing. I don't see deer too often out here, especially like midday. Usually they're hunkered down somewhere. They're more active like morning and evening. It's been a couple days since I filmed anything. I've just been kind of like low energy lately and haven't felt the desire to literally do anything besides my basic needs like showering and eating and whatnot. But since then I have finished Firefly Lane by Kristen Hanna, and this was such a good book. Thought it was a little slow during the middle, like the beginning and the ending were great. The middle dragged on just a little bit, but overall, great book. And I called it, had me crying like a baby, like at the end. I couldn't stop, and then I literally had to like text my mom and let her know that I was unwell because of how heartbreaking the ending just hurt my little heart so much. But great book, highly recommend. Kristen Hanna's writing is fantastic. She has a way of making it so easy to immerse yourself in her stories. It's like you're literally just in the back of one of the characters' pockets and you're just hanging out and going along for the ride because she just envelops you in the story. So I'm very happy I read it. It's so hot up here. I live like above the garage kind of, so the garage doesn't have insulation, so my room gets so hot or so cold in the winter. Like I forgot to turn the heat on one time and it was like 58 degrees when I woke up and it was awful. But I went to my parents' house the other day. They recently moved up to Georgia, like an hour away from me, like up in the mountains type shit. And my mom is also an avid reader, right? She had like a whole library set up in their Florida house. They just haven't had the chance to redo it in their Georgia house now. We went through all the totes, and it was so many totes. And they were all heavy, like 40 to 50 pound totes worth of books. Because she wanted to like start decorating some of the little bookshelves she had throughout her house, like in the bedroom, living room, etc. I got a bunch of new books. My main purpose for helping her, I had a motive. It was to get The Lord of the Rings. And I started The Hobbit yesterday, and I just think it is so funny. Like, The Hobbit is me. I feel like The Hobbit. And the writing's super fun. I'm really enjoying it. I've never read this before. And there's a YouTuber, Emmy, she lives in Canada. She has like the best recommendations, especially for classics. Just any like elevated writing and books, she has the recommendation for. Like, she has me wanting to read The Count of Monte Cristo, and I'm gonna probably try to pick it up. I'm gonna try to purchase said book in the near future if it all works out, but I have so many books here to go through, so due time. So my mom just started like making a pile for me, right? She's like, you need to start taking books, and like, I love books, but I feel really guilty about taking her books because she spent so much money on them. But I still ended up leaving with like a dozen books because she's psychotic, but I love her. So I have my best friend's Exorcism. She said it's like 80s inspired and like really fun. Should be a good time, a spooky good time. Pretty Little Mistakes. Allegedly, it's like an alternate ending book. So that's what it says. A do-over novel is what it's called. Never read anything like this, so it should be interesting. I try to go into books blind, so I'm not gonna like read the synopsis of them. I have Conjure Women. Also, never heard of it. It's a book club edition. Could be spooky, could be not. And I also have More Do by Alex Phoebe. I picked this one out because it said it was fantasy, and I don't have a crazy amount of fantasy and physical copies at the moment, so I just wanted something fun. And look, it's so floppy. That was like the main grabbing point for me. And then there's Green Glass House by Kate Milford, and it looks really cute. Yeah, super cute. I also have Damsel. My mom picked this one out for me by Alana Arnold. Also, no idea. She just said I would really like this one, so I trust her judgment. She likes reading weird shit, so. And then she also insisted, she had 2 copies. If there's one thing about my mother, she always has a backup copy somewhere. Like, she always has at least 1 or 2 copies of like most books. So this one's called We Have Always Lived in the Castle by Shirley Jackson, and the cover work is so gorgeous, and it's only like 150 pages, so I was like, oh, if I want something short, something sweet, but probably spooky. There's a theme here. She keeps giving me spooky books. She's telling me something. And then I picked out Tender is the Flesh. She started reading this. I don't know if she was into it or not, but there's a YouTuber, Heather McClary, I want to say. She was reading this book during her like spooky week, I'm pretty sure. And she said it was frightening and like out there. If I were to use my context clues, I would gather it's about cannibalism if I remember correctly, but spooky good time. And then my mom insisted I take The Snow Hare. She said she really enjoyed this one. I think she said it kind of reminded her of Kristen Hanna's writing. I'm not 100% sure. So very exciting as well. Then Sign Here by Claudia Lux. Never heard of it. Should be a cool time. I think she read it too. Yeah, she stamped it and everything. She has like her little stamp. I'm gonna stamp mine in there too. I don't know why she put it like, usually you put it down here. I want to know what her thought process was on there. And it's sideways. This is also another spooky good time. So basically, my mom hooked me up with spooky books. And I'm not mad about it because I don't really have a lot of spooky, like horror, thriller, mystery books. Like, I would say my most common genres I read would be definitely like fantasy romance interchanged is cool. I like dark romance. I love fiction depending on what it is. I've been absolutely obsessed with Frankenstein since I read it. And I went to the library today to return a couple puzzles that I needed to drop off, and I found a comic version of Frankenstein. And me and the lady at the front desk started talking, and she was like, I love collecting Frankenstein editions. And I was like, oh my god, girl, me too. I only have 2 copies, but
due time. So this is the original one I got, right? This is the one that like I wrote in a little bit, highlighted some stuff, and then I found this one, and tell me that it's not like the coolest cover. So I had to get it, and I thought it was adorable. It was originally sold for like $1. Slowly but surely, I'm gonna start collecting Frankenstein editions because it's one of those books that like it ages so well. Like the more I think about it, the more I love it. It's another book that Emmy, the YouTuber I watch, recommended, and she has such good recommendations, man. Like I've been obsessed with Frankenstein since I read it. Like I can't stop thinking about it. I think about it at least once or twice a day, and just how like the Frankenstein monster is like such a spooky super strangler, you know? Because I thought Frankenstein was the monster. I had no like awareness of what the story was even about. Like I never really watched Frankenstein movies growing up or anything like that. The monster, love him. Like obviously he's really conflicted, but I love me a conflicted king, you know, like Snape, Anakin Skywalker. Like I love misunderstood characters, and I think the monster is like definitely one of those. I just wish he had like a normal name, because like calling him demon seems kind of like, he deserves like at least a name, you know? Like you made this thing and you didn't even give it a name. Call it like a wretched being. Like you made it, man. Dr. Frankenstein, give your boy a name. So slowly but surely I'm gonna start collecting more editions. But the artwork in this one just seemed really fun, so I've been wanting to reread it anyway, even though I just read it. So I think I'm gonna enjoy, like, there's just some really cool, like the art style is very neat. Like I haven't seen an art style like this before, so I'm gonna be busy. Like I said, I haven't had like a crazy amount of energy. I've just been so tired lately. And like last night, I was up every couple hours, just not sleeping well. I literally got off the phone, passed out, didn't even plug my phone in, didn't put my TV on the timer, woke up at 6 a.m., blinded by the sound. And then I went back to sleep, was up at like 8. And then I fell back asleep, woke up at 9. And then I was like, okay, I should probably start my day. It's just part of being me, I suppose. But I cleaned my rabbit and my cat's like cage litter box, cleaned up here this morning, went to the library, ate some breakfast. I want to read a little bit more of The Hobbit, get a little more in the story, because I'm still kind of like in the introduction, and I want to know the nerve of Gandalf, okay? Like this poor little hobbit, Bilbo Baggins, right? He doesn't want to go on an adventure. So what does Gandalf do? Gandalf just has a bunch of elves popping into the little hobbit house, one after the other, no invitation, right? Until this poor little hobbit, Bilbo, is like, what the fuck's going on here? Like, who are all these people? And Gandalf is just like having the time of his life, because he knows he's gonna convince Bilbo to go. But like hobbits don't like going on adventures. They like to stay home for dinner and like be cozy, which is why I feel like a hobbit. Pretty much all that's happened so far. So I want to read that. I've also taken a break from my puzzles the past few days, so I want to get back into that a little bit maybe, and honestly, maybe take a nap. Good morning. It's a new day, and it's kind of overcast. Like it wants to rain, but it's not committed yet. So fingers crossed, because I love me some rain. And I'm making my chicken and rice soup today, so that's gonna take like all day. I've been really wanting it. Had such a hankering for that soup. Like it's one of my favorite things, and one of the first things I learned how to cook while I was like living on my own and whatnot, because I've been on my own since I was 18, so it's a soup that I've been perfecting for quite some time, and it's just so good. It just soup for the soul. Like, oh, it's amazing. So I'm starting with the stock, getting the chicken cooked right now, then I'll shred the chicken, cook the veggies, add the chicken, add the rice. But as I was waiting for the pot to heat up, I was sitting outside reading, and I was still reading The Hobbit. I'm having such a good time. I don't know what it is with Tolkien's writing. Like,
it's just so whimsy. I didn't realize it was written for a young adult demographic, but I am enjoying it, considering I don't really enjoy young adult very often. But his writing is just so fun, so whimsy. I'm assuming they get darker as the series goes on, but I have no idea. I've never read them. As I was reading, two little hummingbirds were beep booping around, and like one of them got so close to me. Like, I don't know if they're just really curious creatures or what, but they were just staring at me. And like, I'll insert a little clip, but they were so cute. They're just like going from flower to flower, like, oh, so adorable. And I just want to update you on my book. So far, so good. The Poor Hobbit. The more I read it, the more I realize, like, I am the Hobbit, you know? Like, the embodiment of a hobbit is me, just like without the hairy feet. This book has illustrations. I wasn't aware that like they had illustrations. My mom got this set from our old neighbor who lived across the street from them when he passed, because my sister bought his house when he passed. And apparently he had like a whole box set. These ones are from, I want to say 1978. So, and these were never read. Like, they have no damage. They're in the box it came in. It was really cool. But they're illustrated, so I was really happy about that. The artwork's kind of neat. I did take a clip, so I'll put that in there too. But just absolutely stunning. Like, it's just black and white line drawings, but those are some of my favorite types of art styles, so I'm very happy about that. Oh, and last night, right, I'm going to bed, I'm sleeping, having the time of my life, you know, unconscious, and my cat, if you're not familiar, is a certified predator. She loves to murder, maim, torture her victims. She found a little mouse, because, you know, living out here in the woods, mice are a thing, and she's torturing it, and I hear it screaming, right? And I thought it was like, you know, smoke detector battery dying, like that chirping sound. I thought that's what it was. So I go out, I'm trying to find the smoke detector, and what do I see? I see a mouse running across my floor and my cat chasing it, like pupils blown out, just like totally geeked out. And I couldn't deal with it. It was like 2 or 3 in the morning, so I literally just like ran back to my room, closed the door. I did not want her bringing me a dead animal in the middle of the night. I don't know if she ate it, I don't know if it got away, and I'm just like really conflicted because like these are things that me personally I don't like dealing with, because I don't want to kill the animal. I don't want her to kill it, but she's really good at killing shit. I don't know what to do. Like, and she's usually like bug patrol, right? So say like a moth gets inside, or like, you know, an ant, she'll eat that. If it's lizards, I always try to save the lizards, because one time I didn't and she ate the entire thing after bringing it in bed with me. So I try to avoid stuff like that at all costs. But this thing was so tiny and it was screaming. It woke me up. I'm like somewhat of a deep sleeper. Like, when I'm out, I'm out. Like, you can't wake me up. So the fact that this little thing was just screaming on the top of its lungs, I felt so bad. And now I can't find it, and I'm also like really paranoid about it, because like I'm not really a fan of like, you know, little creatures of the night finding their way near me. Not my thing. Probably gonna make breakfast here soon, keep reading. I just want like a cozy day. The sun hasn't come out and I'm just like so here for it. So I got my veggies added to my soup, chicken shredded. I'm gonna let that mingle with the broth for a little bit, get the veggies cooked, and then I'm gonna add some rice. And then it should be done once the rice cooks. Add some lime, cilantro on top, so I'm pretty excited about that. But while the veggies cook, I'm gonna work on my puzzle. I've made some decent progress. This one's a little tricky because there's a lot of pieces that are like all the same color scheme. So just doing that and having a nice chill day. I thought it was gonna rain because this morning it was super overcast, but no rain here. It's very unfortunate. Also, I just got to the part in the Hobbit where Bilbo meets Gollum, my precious, and finds the ring, but he doesn't know like what the ring's powers are, like that it has any powers. And Gollum's just out here like my precious, where's my precious? So it's pretty funny. Overall, really good time. Like, very, like, silly, goofy time. I feel like Tolkien's writing is very melodic, very whimsy in this book. So I'm very much enjoying it and having a real good time. I really didn't think I was going to be enjoying it as much as I did, but I'm really glad that my mom had 2 sets of Lord of the Rings, because the other one she had was like a mass paperback set, but the font was so tiny, and like I don't know what it is about like small books, but I need like a nice full-size book. Like anytime they're like pocket-sized, I can't. Like, they just do something to me. It makes me angry. Like, who wants a book that small? How are you supposed to read it without getting like an eye strain or a migraine, you know? Like, I just don't get it. Maybe it's me, but personal preference wise, I need a full-size book, and I'm annotating, so there's a lot of good stuff going on in there.